All right, welcome to another episode of the Pinpoint Investor podcast with Faisal Morsi. Today, my guest is Jenni Utz. I've been excited to talk to her for probably like the past month ever since she agreed to talk to me. So thank you for being on, Jenni.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great.
All right, so I have a personal story to tell before we get into this. Summer before my senior year, I was an idiot, like most boys my age, and I got caught driving 94 and a 45. Part of the court's requirement was that I had to take a driver's improvement class, and the instructor
Oh
during
my
that
God.
class was a guy named Kevin Knox. And his story really stuck out to me. The biggest part that stuck out to me was he was a state trooper here in the area,
Hmm.
and he had somebody pulled over or like was assisting somebody on the side of the beltway, and he got
Yeah.
struck by a drunk driver. Um,
Yeah.
Tell me about that. What was that like? Being
Yeah. So that's actually been a huge part of my why in real estate and everything that I do. Family is so important to me. And the lessons that I learned when he got hit, I was 16 years old. And I was actually living with him. My parents had divorced. So it was just me at the time living with him. And he had left one Friday evening to head to work. And at the time, he was not a road trooper, so he really shouldn't have been pulling people over and doing all these things. But this guy was habitually speeding, and so he was like, "I need to pull him over." And he did. He got out. It was on the Beltway. It was Friday afternoon, rush hour. And a drunk driver, as my dad was out asking for the license and registration, a drunk driver came and sideswiped the man's car. So sweeping my dad into the middle of the Beltway,
Oh, wow.
sustaining, severe life-threatening injuries. They got him to shock trauma. By the time I got there, I didn't even recognize him. He was black, swollen, hard to the touch, just fighting for his life. And that was a big wake up call at 16 years old. So taught me life is short, life is precious, and work hard and do things in order to value what is important to you. And that has always been my family.
That's amazing. Yeah, especially get that type of lesson at like such a young age. I mean, at 16, like most of us don't have
Yeah.
that mentality and that mindset. So,
Yes.
like talk about a blessing in disguise. All right. So, tell me about yourself. Like, what do you do, and how'd you get to where you
Yeah.
are?
So I actually started in real estate right out of college. Well, that's not true. I got into mortgages right out of college, but it was more of a telemarketing mortgage company, which I absolutely hated, and decided that was not for me. But my dad and my sister, so of course my dad had to retire medically. And so my sister did not go to college, and they were in the process of taking their real estate license while I was in this telemarketing mortgage company. And I was like, well, let me just go ahead and quit this and let me get my license with them, and we'll all three, get into real estate together. And that's what we did. And so we kind of started a team originally, and it was fun. It was great. It was a good opportunity. I learned, well, and then the market crashed. So we had about 1 year in real estate before the market crashed. And then we only knew how to work hard, build our brand. And it was wild because we built our brand so quick and so effectively that people in our area thought that my dad started this company 20 years ago and that we had been in business for so long. But we just did it strategically and very planned out. So that was fun. And then we realized that my dad loved going out and talking to people and showing the property. And I love the back end, building the business, building the team, putting systems and processes in place. And from there, I started the real estate brokerage, and then added in about 2 years later, the property management company. And then from the need of that, a remodeling and maintenance division.
Oh, wow. So, do you have all three of those things still going on today?
I do. We actually just merged my brokerage last, I guess, October. So almost, well, it's been about a year into EXP. So we now are a team inside of EXP, and I still have the property management. I still have the remodeling. And one of the things that I've done just from the sheer need and the things I've seen through property management, people self-managing or people coming to us after they've already purchased their investment, is that so many people, just because they have some money and know that investing in real estate is a good idea, great for building wealth, they don't exactly know how to get into it. And so I see a lot of people coming to me after the fact, and it's hard for me to try and fix the problem because they got into it at the wrong numbers or with bad tenants and things like that. And so from there, I found the need to launch an investment coaching platform, which basically helps these investors from the get-go so we don't make those mistakes that, it's hard to correct at that point.
So talk to me about that because it's always something that like has intrigued me, but I don't know, kind of felt like it was too much responsibility. You're taking these people's money and like ensuring their success essentially, like even though like they have to put in the work. Like
Right.
how's that, been going for you so far?
Yeah, it's been really good. What my goal is to education is out there, right? I mean, we are surrounded by the internet. We've got, YouTube, all the things. So there's not a shortage of information on how to invest in real estate. The biggest issue that I see are people don't know how to take what they've learned or what they have picked up from somewhere and apply that to their specific situation. Meaning, I'm dealing with a young family right now who's got kids, and their goal is to have real estate for their children as they grow older. I actually took that opportunity and explained to them what it looked like when I did that for my kids. I bought each of them a property. That way, whether they go to college, I can either sell it, refinance it. If they don't go to college, then that property then becomes theirs. They can use, as an investment or whatever they want, but that becomes their asset. And so it's just really interesting. It's about showing them the path and creating that strategic strategy that they don't know how to implement just because they may have learned the foundations to what it looks like to invest.
Gotcha. And so, tell me your experience as a real estate investor and kind of like how you're applying that experience and teaching others the same.
Right. So with what I've done, I've been able to help thousands of property management clients as investors. I've been able to help buy and sell investment properties for investors. I also have my own portfolio, long-term, short-term, international, fix and flip. I've done a little bit of all of them. So I'm very familiar with a lot of the processes. And so what I've done is taken my knowledge of what I do personally, how I run my business, how I would handle other investment properties, and then create a strategic coaching roadmap for each of my clients. And that is customized to each of, their needs, their 5-year goals, 10-year goals, depending on how old they are, what kind of risk they're looking to do. If they need more money to be able to buy certain things, does a fix and flip strategy on the first round, or if they're just getting started, does what I did, which was live in a property for 2 years and then turn that into an investment. What strategy works for them, and let's work to put that in place.
That's smart. I don't think a lot of teachers or mentors even, have that like type of like catering. How are you able to scale that if like everything is just so like, catered to like each individual student?
So for me, my goal is not to scale this massively. My goal is to truly and genuinely help the people that I'm working with. I only take a certain number of clients at a time. I want to make sure I give them dedicated attention. And when I say that I'm going to give results, that's the end goal, right? My goal for each person by the end of it is to actually have bought their first investment property. And one thing that's been very beneficial for me to my clients is the fact that I am nationally recognized through the property management world. So I have resources nationally that can help find off-market properties that they might not have access to. And what that looks like is the ability to, okay, I had a client who was in California. He makes really good money, but not enough money to invest in California in his backyard. So it's about leveraging the money that you have, putting it in an area that might be better suited for an investment potential.
Gotcha. Um, Talk to me about like your onboarding, like when you bring on, a potential client, what type of things do you ask for, and like how are you able to get them through the process of like, okay, they're a good fit for me, and let's get you started.
So the very first thing that we do once they become a client of mine is I send them, it's about a 15-page, pretty thorough legacy planner. And it kind of goes over where they are currently, what their goals are in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, what level of risk, that they're willing to do, what kind of time commitment they want to do. It helps me decide on, fix and flip. It's a quick project in essence, right? But it's very time consuming during that portion. Buy and hold is great. Do you want to be, I like to call them white collar investors. Do you want to buy a property that is already finished, already has a tenant in place? The returns might not be as high, but you're just walking into a phenomenal investment and you'll start seeing the appreciation and you'll start seeing that passive income. Or I like to call it the blue collar investor. I've done both, so there's no shame in either one, but the blue collar investor who wants to put some blood, sweat, and tears into it and do the Burr method or, whatever it might look like to fix a property up, turn it around, either sell it or refinance it out and be able to really force that appreciation.
It's funny because like I have these like consultation appointments with clients all the time, try to figure out like, not as thorough as you. It's normally like a 30-minute conversation, but like
Yeah,
I try to like steer people away from like the whole like blue collar investor aspect because I feel like it just um burns people out, and like a lot of times like people were like, oh no, it's cool. Like I know how to do all that work. It's like, yeah,
right.
but like you instead of like paying someone, I don't know, $30-$40 an hour, you're then going to take like twice as long to complete a task when you could have just like
Exactly.
outsourced that out.
And
Uh,
I've had contractors who wanna get into flipping because they've got the knowledge and all of those things, and then when you add in, okay, yes, you know how to do that. That's just like someone who's really good at their trade and thinking they can go out into business on their own, right? Not saying they can't, but they forget about all the things that are the back end admin, marketing, all of those things that go into business. It's no different than a fix and flip. There's so many pieces that go into it other than just you knowing how to do the remodel. And so, yeah, if you want to do that, that's you just need to know and understand and have a true appreciation for what that looks like, because it can get overwhelming. And if you haven't put in place a plan A, a plan B, what's going to happen if this happens? You're going to struggle. And that's a perfect example. I actually had a property that I'm working on right now. It's a flip, and it was going to be a home run of a flip. It was a rancher. I had plans to turn it into a colonial in the area. It would have been a phenomenal deal. And then my grandmother wound up having a stroke, and I was her primary caretaker and the one who had to make all the medical decisions on her behalf. And I knew that I could not take on a project like that and be present for family situations that I needed to deal with. And so I already knew and I already had the calculations and the money that was needed to do just a regular flip on that rancher. Now, my numbers aren't as great. I mean, I'm going to make money, but it's not going to be the home run. But I had a plan A and I had a plan B. And even through all of those, there's contingency funds in place. And people just need to understand what that looks like and how to factor all of those things into their project when they get started and not just be so excited to get started that they start I like to call it manufacturing the numbers to make it look better, even if we really needed those numbers in there.
Yeah, I agree. So much gold in that. All right. And it's funny because like as a real estate investor, I feel like I'm like constantly like adapting to like
Yeah.
the ever changing, not just market, but like the situation of like a flip or like rentals and stuff like that. So yeah, great advice. All right. So what advice would you give to someone who started from scratch, want to get into this, they don't really know where to start?
Uh, I mean, that's a great place. I think that there's so many people who get into investing. It's just almost like anything, and they might have learned the wrong way to do it, and then you have to unteach them. So honestly, not knowing where to start is the best place because then, you can just start teaching them the proper way. I do monthly webinars where for free, so that we can schedule a consultation and I can kind of just go over where you're at in life and what that looks like. But the biggest thing, I think I said it at the beginning, is you don't need to know everything. You just need to know the people in place, the relationships. I'm a big relationship type person. So knowing the people in place in order to help you, coach you, guide you. I think I just sent you somebody from Washington State, a real estate agent in Washington State. He said, "Where do you get these lists from?" I was like, "I know the guy for you, and it's like, I don't know everything, but I know who to contact and who the person is for the people that I work with. And I think that's key. And just knowing that, and just, with the investors, who's the property management company, who is the real estate agent, who is investor friendly, all of those things. And that's what I help and guide them with. We take it from the strategic plan to, okay, now we're buying the property. I have an investor friendly agent for you, and then let me also put you in touch with the property management company, take it from A to Z. And then that way they're not left stranded wondering what the next move's going to be.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, especially at the beginning, everything just seems so overwhelming, all the
Yeah.
people you have to know and everything. So like, I'm a connector. I try to figure out like what do people need and like how to
Yep.
connect them to the right people. And it's just, planting seeds. Like you're not gonna get, it's not like you're gonna make money off everyone you talk to. So like,
Right.
just
Yep.
have the goodwill, help them out and just be a genuine good person. And,
Yeah.
whether it's the karma or, whatever will come
Right.
back to you. So that's cool.
And the biggest thing is like starting small, thinking big, right? These investors that are just starting off, we don't need these to be home run deals on the first deal. The biggest thing on the first deal really is, yeah, the numbers need to make sense, but a lot of people that don't invest is because they're scared, right? The fear of failing. So we just need to get over the hump of knowing you can do it, right? This is something that you're able to do and it makes sense for you. And then after that, we build from the first investment. So don't think that comparing yourself to someone who's been doing this for a while or who has hundreds of properties, everybody started out in your spot at one point, and then it's a compounding effect. It's the leverage of the investment.
Yeah, I agree. That's awesome. So when someone works with you, like, do you like work with them for a year or like, like how do you
Yep.
structure your
The
mentorship?
initial coaching platform is I work with you until we work to buy your first investment. My
Awesome.
success strings on me being able to get you an investment. Now that my contract says you have to be able to do the work, and when we provide, properties that align with your goals and things like that, you're willing to pull the trigger. I mean, there are, things that my clients have to do, but I am giving them the resources. I've laid out a roadmap. I will work with them if we need to do a cash out refinance on their property or an investment. I work with them and lay that out so that we can have the finances in place. And we just work through what that looks like. And then we go into analyzing properties and starting to put offers on properties.
How are you able to do this on a national scale?
Yeah, so I've got, like I said, I've got property managers nationwide. So they on average are managing hundreds to thousands of investment properties nationally each. And so there's a network of people who have investors who are looking to sell off market. Because of my connections, I've also got off market investment platforms where we're able to see these investment deals. A lot of those happen to be the white collar type investments, which are great, especially when you're starting out and you're investing in an area that you are not living in. And from there, we're able to match them with property management that I would recommend.
Um, as far as like where you plan on taking this business or like all of your businesses, like what do you kind of see for these businesses short term, like in the next year or two, and then like longer term, like 10 years?
That's a great question. 10 years, I don't know. The investment platform, so it's so funny because from having my own investments, the property management and everything, I've set it up for systems processes. So, we've got our meetings, they check in with me, but the company runs itself because I've got such great employees. So, For a little while, I felt I just kind of coasted. And then I just got bored. And I really took some time to figure out what it was that would be meaningful to me, to get, value from my life and how I can help others. And obviously, real estate is all I know. And so that's how I started this coaching platform. So it's a labor of love. I truly do love it. I don't foresee changing that anytime soon. Even if property management in 10 years is sold, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying if it is, I do still see helping and coaching in the investment platform just because that's my true passion.
So, with you having like clients nationwide and like I feel like you're always like on the go or like how do you turn it off and like how are you able to like prioritize like spending time with your family and like, your kid and everything?
It's crazy because starting this beforehand, I mean, I would get up at, 6:30, so not too late, but also I wasn't, some overachiever and getting up at 5 or anything like that. And this is such a passion of mine. My days now start at 3:40. There's things that I want to get done in the morning. More of a morning person than an evening person. So my morning starts pretty early. I get everything that I want done personally, can start my business day earlier before people are up. And then from there, I block off times because I'm in meetings usually all day long when I'm not traveling. And so I block off times of meaning to me. So my daughter, I have her, half the time. And when I've got her, those evenings are blocked off. Nothing happens those evenings. My time is with her. Same with all of her events. Because for me, the whole reason I'm doing this is because of my family and how important that is. So if I take on so many people that I am not able then to provide my presence and my ability to be there for my family, then I've missed the mark and I'm doing something wrong. So my family will always be first.
That's awesome. How old's your daughter?
My daughter's about to be 12 next month.
Okay. What are you teaching her about like entrepreneurship or real estate investing?
So we haven't quite gotten there. She hears me she always, on Zoom calls. So she loves to mimic me and currently make fun of me. But my son is 18. And so when I started with him, first thing I did at 16 is put him on my credit card. His credit score is like 780 right now. We set a goal for him at 16 and he did not then buy useless things. He will go to the Goodwill and buy his shirts just because he cares that much about the money, only because his goal is to buy I've got a duplex that his goal is to buy. And so by the time he turned 18, he had enough money saved for what the goal was for him to be able to buy that duplex from me. So I am trying to teach through investing, I take him to, we've been to several EXP events, and just different motivational events. And he comes with me and is learning through all of that. So I am not a mother who's going to give them things, but I am going to provide them value and open their eyes to leaders in the industry on how people become successful, because it is not an overnight and it's not a get rich quick.
I hope he realizes how lucky he is. Does he plan on going to college or does he just want to
Yeah,
dive like
so he and he's way smarter than I am. He did a college while in high school as well. So he was dual enrolled. He had 1 year of high school or 1 year of college under his belt. And so this year he's continuing that online college for a year so he can travel. And he's getting his real estate license. And then next year his goal is to transfer to University of Maryland.
that's awesome. Good for him. Is he planning on like house hacking or like having like a rental down there?
So he is looking to, I'm not sure how he wants to do it, but he's been a part of the flip that I'm doing. The duplex, I fully rehabbed it before, I'm going to sell it to him. And so he's been a part of that process. I've got him actually working on the property management side, doing move-in inspections, move out. I'm a true believer. I did it myself, but I can't give someone a position that I haven't done myself. I need to be familiar with all of that, and that is what I'm teaching him. So he's starting from the ground up and learning, and hopefully we'll be able to have a good insight of how to be an effective landlord and investor.
What traits has he gotten from you that you think will serve him well as an investor?
He has the ability to analyze things, think through things. He does not get flustered easily, which is a great trait. He's more of an introvert like I am. My daughter is going to be the one who, talks to everyone, is friendly with everyone. He is more of the one-on-one connections and interactions, just like I am. So I think the numbers game is going to be really good for him. He is very smart with numbers.
So your daughter's your dad, basically.
Yes.
Nice.
She knows everyone and she will go out and talk to them. And I'm like, how do you know all these people? She does. She's 12 years old and is friends with everyone.
That's awesome. What advice have you gotten, or what lessons have you learned along the way that you think has served you the best?
Through everything I've done, and this isn't a pitch for me, it's actually how I've lived my life. I got into real estate. I had a phenomenal mentor when I first started. I got into property management. I had a mentor who actually wasn't that great, and so I learned a lot of valuable lessons from that. I have an HOA and condo division, and I hired someone to teach me how to do that. And so the lesson is, don't be scared to make the move, but also don't be stupid enough to think that you can do it on your own, without learning some valuable lessons. What I've always done is taken what I've learned from somebody, and it might not be my style, but I've learned the foundation of what they've taught me, and then I have the ability to tweak and make it my own. But before having the foundation, you really don't have anything to go off of.
I'm a huge proponent of hiring mentors and just joining masterminds and
Right.
coaches and stuff like that. You're able to like buy someone's lessons and their knowledge and like shorten that learning
And
curve
their
for them.
mistakes, so
Exactly.
you don't have to make them.
Yeah, and I've done the same. I've hired bad coaches, good coaches,
Right.
and like you learn, what to look for, and even the
Right.
bad coaches, like I've still learned and got my
It's a
mind.
lesson, right. Yeah, no
Absolutely.
matter what.
All right. I feel like with real estate, we deal with like the lowest of the low when it comes to humanity and people in general. What has
Mhm.
been like your craziest real estate story?
Okay, so I think I'm gonna take this all there's plenty, especially in the property management world, but I'm gonna take it back all the way to when we first started. And because the market had crashed, we got really deep into foreclosures and working with the banks. I also had, the remodeling division that was just launched. So we were able to do some of the trash outs and things like that. So let's start. Okay, new agent now working with banks, so they're completely different than working with a regular seller. No longer emotional. It is all, what they say goes. So trying to wrap your head around that. Then offering cash for keys and how all of this works. So there's so many dynamics going. And then after offering cash for keys, now they didn't get the money yet, but they trashed the place. And so we brought my guys in to do the work. Well, I once again am a big proponent of doing things before making other people do them as well. And so I don't necessarily, I'm not the one who swings the hammer, but I will get my hands dirty with my guys, to let them know that I am there for them. And so that is what I did in this deal. And I don't regret it, as far as, because it showed a level of respect from them. But it was one of the dirtiest. They had a sewage backup in the house and everything. So it was something that I will never forget, but it was a great experience bonding. We got the house sold, tenants moved out, but also I didn't have a property management company at that point. So it did show me ahead of time the valuable lessons of bringing the right tenants in place as well.
And yet you still want to start a property management company.
Well, no
Sadistic.
one said I was sane, no. Uh, but the bringing value to that is huge, and making sure you're screening the right people. So it's all in perspective.
Yeah, agreed that. All right. This has been awesome. I appreciate your time and everything. How do people get a hold of you?
Actually, just follow me on Instagram. Probably be the easiest way. Jenni Utz, at Jenni Utz. I pretty much respond to everyone's message on there. So, yeah, we can chat. I will be more than happy to answer any questions you have. And if you want to sign up for, I do, like I said, a monthly real estate investing kind of mastermind where I just kind of go over some of the basics. Just let me know and I'll send you the link for that as well.
Okay, cool. And that's Jenny with an I, right?
Yep, Jenni with an
Uh,
I.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for your time. I
Yeah,
appreciate it. This has
thank
been
you.
awesome.
Thanks so much.
Of course, talk soon.